Hi guys, and welcome to the Bunny Pantry, where we talk anything bunnies health, bunny behavior, as far as what I'm learning in the process of being a novice bunny owner, and also bunny microgreens as part of the health and wellness, and why they are so great, and why I grow them for my own bunnies, and I'm also starting to sell them nationwide now to other bunny owners. So today's topic is pretty simple, but something that is so stressful for probably any bunny owners. It is bunny bonding. When you're in the early stages of bunny bonding, your nerves are running high, like mine, and your bunnies are still very much hating each other, or at least it feels that way. That barrier for me gives me a bit of sanity, and my dog is currently checking it out. As you can see, this is a completely neutral space for those bunnies. They have never been in my basement down here. They're roaming upstairs. Well, right now they're not roaming because they're not bonded yet. They're kind of one at a time roaming some of the house to get some exercise. But I am knees deep. Sorry, hi Luca. This is Luca, our Aussie. Knees deep in that bunny bonding situation. Just a little recap. For anyone that hasn't seen my previous and first video, our Holland Lop Arlo is about 6 months old, and he's been neutered for about 10 weeks now. And he has always had a bit of a reactive nature, but also a bit fearful, or I would say actually now I'm realizing it's very fearful. I've spent countless hours over the last couple of months just sitting with him, giving him space and time to just get to know me, giving him treats, and things were getting better. But I always felt like it wasn't really fully getting to a point, even after those many months now, where he was just actually settling in and not feeling so constantly on edge and worried about everything, really. He also has a very territorial nature, so he's one to quickly be nipping, biting if you were to try and pick him up. So his default programming doesn't seem to be just like run away and hide like a lot of bunnies do. His is he gets freaked out, and then he actually starts to attack, lunge, bite, and nip. But when I am in his space or in his room hanging out and he's just not feeling it, he will start to kind of circle around me. He starts nipping and pulling on my shirt. And while those are not full-blown bites, he's definitely been, breaking some skin, and he's been actually kind of intimidating, to be honest, even though that's so funny and weird to admit, to say that a 3-pound little fluff ball can be so intimidating. And so I felt like bonding him with a really settled and calm bunny might be really what he needs. I wound up finding a local ad of someone that had to get rid of their 2-year-old Netherland dwarf female. She's spayed, and we named her Rosie. And she's an absolute sweetheart, considering that she's only been here for about 1.5 weeks, and she's not been around children so far, I think. So she's settled in really nicely, and she's been nothing but interested and fun, and I've given her some free roaming time with supervision, and she absolutely loves it. She will do binkies and run around and explore. She's just kind of that really calm nature that I think Arlo could really benefit from once he gets over that initial phase of being super afraid. So we've basically been doing like the preparations to the actual bonding process for the last 1.5 weeks, where she was in a different part of the house in her pen, but Arlo definitely knew she was there. He could just tell almost immediately because he started his territorial pooping, some peeing, being a lot more on guard and more skittish than usual. Initially, I really made sure that he wasn't making direct contact with her, obviously, and that I even would be washing my hands and things if I had a doubt with her, and then I'm going into Arlo's space, because I also didn't really want to get bitten anymore. We know he has a history of doing that, so I was pretty weary of that. And I know that a lot of you guys have similar issues. I'm in some rabbit groups where I can really see the main problems people are running into, and some of this like bunny behavior of nipping, biting, not wanting to be picked up, and also really not wanting much to do with their owner is something that seems pretty common. So this is why I'm making this video series, and if you stay tuned and like and subscribe to my channel, I will be uploading every single bonding day, the progress, some voiceovers explaining what's going on. And just FYI, I think I said it earlier, I actually hired a professional bonding coach to help me through this whole process so I don't make any major mistakes, though I'm feeling like I'm already making mistakes because I've just never done it before. So all that to say, I will be inserting some clips here. Arlo and Rosie had their first encounter, just like it was recommended. And I should circle back and say the very first encounter was actually where I briefly put them in the carrier together, and I was very nervous and leery about that. But now hindsight, that what we call stress bonding was actually something that really worked, because Arlo is such a reactive bunny that him being stressed and kind of just frozen in that moment seemed to have really kind of taking that edge off, and he at least tolerated his environment, even if it wasn't something that he was comfortable with. Now, I should say I'm really not comfortable with the idea of stress bonding in general, but I really do think that after doing a lot of research and listening to professionals and their recommendations, that for us, the way our bunnies are, especially Arlo, it actually really helped keep the lid on the aggression for that first encounter without anyone getting bitten or freaking out. So, but that was really just the first little bit. It was maybe 15 minutes at the most, and then I just let it be because I could tell that they were both getting pretty stressed, and I don't want to really stress them too much. It was really meant to just be sort of like this introduction where they're just uncomfortable enough not to worry about each other too much and not attack each other, but really just sort of take it in and get each other's sense. So then the actual first day of real bonding per se, or the X-Pen bonding situation, I did the CC grids actually 2x3 because I thought I was being nice. I will insert a picture here. And as you can see, it was quite large, and I felt like it was probably a pretty appropriate way to do it. And I put the blanket down like everyone else does so they don't slip, and I added some fresh hay with some herbs sprinkled. And it, as you will see, I will also insert some short clips of that here. Arlo and Rosie were really just sort of sniffing the cage and figuring out their environment, so that's why there was a calm. And honestly, I think it was more of a calm before the storm, because about 1.5 minutes in, Rosie was displaying some interesting behaviors of just wanting to be close to Arlo, wanting to meet him and get to know him. And just like I had worried and thought, Arlo was gonna be aggressive because that's how he deals with stress and being fearful. So he sipped around, and you will see that he literally goes for a nip on the forehead. And this is where I intervened because I don't want any nipping around the face, the eyes, the nose, because that could cause severe injuries. So as soon as I made contact with him, he went into full offense mode and attack mode, because I guess that me touching him really triggered it. And then it was just this full ball of fighting. And so, yeah, after they've been just kind of sitting there for a couple of minutes fairly stiff, I, with a low voice, talked to them a little bit, and then I wound up ending the session on a positive note, probably about as positive as it can be, given that there's two rabbits pretty stressed, but at least I didn't separate them right after a fight or anything. They basically just hopefully remember mostly that was just them sitting in each corner, being nervous about each other, but there was no actual fighting. I pet them and I put them back in each of their carriers and put them back upstairs in their pens. Originally, I actually wanted to go ahead and swap pens and put the bunnies into the other one's pen, but Arlo was so stressed and territorial that I feel like I was just going to fuel the fire of his fury. So I put him back in his own pen for now. I'm not looking to bond them within the next 3 to 5 days necessarily, so it's or to finish the bonding process. So I feel like I'd rather take my time so Arlo doesn't completely get unhinged. So yeah, that's where we're at right now, and this is day 2. I was just starting to prepare my space for day 2, and you will see that I have those 2x2 cc grids, so I made the space quite a bit smaller, and I put a grid and a barrier right in between. So I will put one in each side first. I will have my gloves, and by the way, I absolutely love those gloves I ordered. They were only $13 on Amazon. They're fully pipe proof, and they go all the way till back here. I will insert them as well, and you will see them in those little clips that I'm adding to. But ultimately, I will feel a lot less on edge, because that's also important that you as the handler aren't totally through the roof nervous. To see how they react, and I have a little bit of a barrier to make sure everyone stays safe. And then I will slowly start to take this barrier down in the middle. But I also love, I have to say, I'm so glad I didn't go for an X pen, a traditional one, because those CC grids, they're so much lower. I can literally comfortably sit and have my gloves and my spray bottle and my dustpan right here, so I can really instantly reach in and manage those bunnies, separate them, pet them, while I'm sitting here. So once they're doing well, I can start taking the middle out, and then I'm planning to like literally sit there and like on low volume watch a movie or something and watch them closely for longer bonding sessions. Whereas if it's this tall X pen and I have to get up and reach in, especially initially where things happen so fast, I'm really glad that I bought myself those CC grids instead, because they're just so much more modifiable. You can change the height, so if one of them decides to want to try and jump out, I'll have my hand right there, but if it became an issue, I can just add a second tier of CC grids. I will link everything below in my description. I'm not even an affiliate. I don't even earn any commissions as of right now. I really just want to link the things that are working for me and where I'm happy that I spent my money on in preparation for this bonding session. But please feel free to let me know how you feel about this so far. Again, this is me just bonding for the first time. I'm so glad I have a professional backing me up. So if I have questions or concerns, I can ask, send videos, reach out. But all in all, I'm extremely stressed. I feel bad for my female rabbit that is a little bit more, trying to just get along. I hope this encourages some of you that I am just, a fairly new bunny owner, bonding two bunnies that have never really met each other beforehand. And this is just me doing, my best, but trial and error, guys. So I think we also learn from other people's mistakes and not just from success stories. So this is me fully transparent, showing how this process is going. And I can't wait to see how it all unravels in the end, how fast they will bond. I would love to hear your comments and feedback on what's going on so far. Tell me about your bunnies, your bonding stories, or are you planning to bond your bunnies? Please don't hesitate to like and subscribe to this channel. It is going to be all about bunnies and their gut health as well. Just a little side note, I'm actually literally starting a business around the bunny pantry, which is clover and other bunny approved microgreens that I'm growing. They are truly a superfood, and I will make a separate video on why that is so important for bunnies, especially to help combat the GI stasis problem that so many of us have. My bunnies absolutely love it, and I will be adding more and more clips and shorts and longer form videos about that as well. All that being said, thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this whole video. I can't wait to hear about you guys and your bunny stories. I know anyone that's interested in bunnies is just an absolute bunny nut. We always love spending money and doing things for our bunnies to make them live happier, longer, and a healthier life. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.